Welcome back to Eldeecodes. In this video, we are going to learn about Introduction to CSS Part 2. In the previous video, we've discussed about Introduction to CSS. We discussed about standard method of writing our CSS, and we also discussed about inline CSS. In case you are just watching this, you can reference to the old videos to be able to catch up with this. Today we are going to learn about internal CSS. Internal CSS is one of the standard ways of writing our CSS. Internal CSS allows you to add styling into your HTML file, but not directly on the HTML element. This is simply saying that internal CSS allows you to have your style in the same file with your HTML, but not as directly inside the HTML tag the way we did in inline CSS. And this is suitable if you want to keep all your code in one file, but it's not suitable if you need to share this CSS across other HTML file you have. And it offers faster page load as compared to inline CSS. In the previous video, we mentioned that inline CSS slowed down page load. So this is faster to compare to inline CSS. And this is basically example of how internal CSS looks and how to write your internal CSS. Firstly, styles are added inside a style tag, which can then be placed in the head tag or the body tag of your HTML document. So I'm going to explain this further. The first thing you will do if you want to write an internal CSS, you have to initiate your style tag, which is basically this. And after initiating your style tag, it must be placed in the head tag or body tag of your HTML document. But I suggest or I advise it's more better to have it in your head tag, okay? And this is basically an example of how it looks like. Your style tag, your selector, and your declaration. Then again, there is also an important thing we need to note when we want to write internal CSS. The CSS syntax rule. Okay, the CSS syntax rule set consists of a selector and a declaration block. So what is selector? Selector specify what HTML element you want to style. Let me use an example. You have a div you want to style, you have a p tag you want to style, a tag, section, mention it, like a particular place you want to style. That's what selector is. So then the declaration simply means specify what style you want to apply to a particular selector. This is maybe you have selected a particular div you want to style or a particular tag you want to style. Then you want to give it maybe a background color of blue, maybe a color of red, maybe a font size of 30 pixels, and so forth. That's the declaration. So you should have this in mind when writing internal CSS. And this is basically how it looks. So here, first thing you need to know is the selector. So we have a div tag we want to style, okay? Then inside of this block, you are going to have your declaration. So we are saying we need in this particular div or all the divs in our HTML file, give them background color of green and give them color of white. So just have this in mind anytime you want to write internal CSS. You first of all initiate the selector, the block, and the declaration. This is the selector, this is the selector, this is the block, and this is the declaration. And that's basically all for internal CSS. Do not forget to like, comment, share, and follow us for our latest updates. In the next video, we are going to get our hands dirty with code.